Thanks for staying with us. What a conversation we're having, both on air and off air. We've been talking matters, corruption and anti-corruption with my panelists here while we're off air. Hopefully some of the thoughts will come to light now that we are back on. And of course, your questions as well, please send them in. 22423 is the SMS line and the hashtag is Daybreak. Governor, you've seen the views of Kenyans there. We just played some tweets and some SMSs. You can see the frustration. Some could say almost bordering on depression because some of them don't even have solutions. They're just concerned with the state of the nation. How would you respond to those Kenyans who just feel that we are not seeing any results out there?
Well, I think I can appreciate that sentiment. For a long time since independence, one couldn't say there was any serious war against corruption. In actual fact, I remember there were times when if you were not practicing corruption in a public office, you were suspect because those that you were working with believed that you would tell on them. And therefore, they would socialize you into corruption so that you can't name them in any forum. But countries that have really in Africa, I'm talking first of all about Africa, where they have fought corruption successfully, like Botswana, like now Rwanda, to some extent Ethiopia and Tanganyika, and now in the presidency of Kibaki, and now in the presidency of Uhuru Kenyatta, trying to make sure that senior people go to courts for corruption and there isn't like protection. But in those earlier countries that I mentioned, like Botswana, the President Sir Kama, when you were senior and you were caught with corruption, you would be jailed, including his relatives. So people realize that in this country, you don't joke. There is no corruption. Wherever you are, even if you are related with the president, you will be jailed. And that tradition continued. And that is why currently Botswana, in terms of the transparency index that you mentioned earlier, Botswana is even better than Spain, than some of the European countries in terms of how it fights corruption. So I think the political will to fight corruption, when in a country it is clear that the top leadership will not tolerate corruption and the people will get jailed. Not that jailing is the only thing that you must do to fight corruption, because as we have said earlier in the conversation, sensitizing the people, teaching them from high school, from even kindergarten and so on, that messaging is very, very, very important so that you turn around the culture. But people must be punished so that it is clear that this is not something that is tolerated. In Japan, for example, when public officials are mentioned with corruption, they commit suicide because you have brought dishonor to your family, and your family, you know, will not tolerate that you have hurt them. Mm-hmm. So I think in our country, we must get to the point where, first of all, and I think BBI is suggesting some of this, where when you go to court, there is a time frame. Within like we do in presidential elections, within a particular time, you're processed, of course fairly, following the rule of law. And the matter is concluded. Mm-hmm. Lawyers don't bring, you know, these injunctions and, you know, adjournments and things like that unnecessarily. So that the message sinks that corruption can't pay.
Corruption can't pay. And this is why I want to ask you this, Governor. Earlier this year, there were corruption allegations made against your administration before a Senate Oversight Committee, and the projects in question were to the tune of about 1.4 billion. I don't know whether you, and I know you did go back and have a chance to speak with them about that, but for the benefit of Kenyans who may not have followed that, what was the issue over, and can you just clarify that for us here today?
Yes, they said that the Controller and Auditor General had not itemized 26 projects. So they were not ready to discuss that. And yet in the management letter, the names of those projects were there. The answers had been, you know, there were answers to those questions. In actual fact, our county and Ndarua were some of the counties which had clean audit reports.
Because
but
previously you have been given, I believe, an A minus, an A rating of some sort.
No, previously, of course, from the beginning, we did not do as well as 2017-18, and that's a process. But when the controller in the document going to Senate had not written down this project, but it was in the management letter, and we said that this is the management letter, they said no, we'll have to go and talk to the controller. So it was like a technical thing saying that they cannot continue with the discussion because according to them, although they can see the 26 projects and we have supplied information from the management letter, they said they can't consider. So they were being technical, and in actual fact...
and it didn't help that you were not in one of the sittings. There was one where you were not present. There
was one where I told them that I was going abroad.
You had informed them already?
And actually from the beginning, our county always went to those meetings because the people of Makueni told me that I must always go to those meetings, you know, whatever the law said. And actually today, we are, I think, the only county where we are beginning open contracting, so that our contracting is public. Anybody can question, they will see all the details who are saying, you know, that they want jobs, what they are quoting. So we have decided to make that completely public. Before we were doing it through IFMIS only, but citizens don't access IFMIS. So we have gone a stage further so that all the information about our procurement is open to the public.
Okay.
Because there is nothing that we should, you know, stop the public from knowing from Makueni and elsewhere.
Tell me this briefly. There are governors who said that Senate is on a witch hunt mission. Do you hold that view?
Well, I don't really want to say that any official organization can be on a witch hunt mission because they shouldn't be. If you want to fight corruption properly, then you must be fair, you must follow the law, you must not politicize it, and the jury out there will know when you are doing that.
Okay.
And that is why I believe for us to also effectively fight corruption, whether it's from EACC, whether it is from the courts, whether it is from Senate, oversight bodies, people must be serious and people must do correct things.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Governor. Bishop, let me bring you in. Now, the church in 2019 has been accused of not sanitizing corruption per se, but being very gentle on those who have questionable sources of wealth. Do you think the church has done enough to question its members? You spoke about a declaration by, I think, a Catholic priest or the Catholic Church in Kenya. Yeah. Why has that not spread to other sectors of the religious class as well? And what more needs to be done? But first, do you think, and can you say that the church has done enough?
The church is doing the best it can. And
you believe that?
Yes, I do. Because, for example, we've published messages, and we are actually have had so many pressers. And we gathered at Serena with the Archbishop of the Anglican Church. And we said, we've no quarrel with donations. The problem is when we make a lot of fanfare and again turn the sanctuary into a political field. So for example, we are shepherds, and we shepherd the good and the bad. We walk with Kenyans, and we want them to have a mindset change from within. So what is there is when we made that declaration in Serena, when we said we would want to leave the sanctuary clean, some people actually came to my office. One person said that he has been sent to warn me that I should not be vocal on issues corruption.
That was this year?
This year, yes. Well, a person came, and I've had so many messages, people threatening and all that. And you see, it's corruption hitting back. And the thing is, I told this particular person, because he was so furious, and he asked me, have you heard what I told you? And I told him, yes, I have heard. And I have also a message to whoever sent you Go and tell them, I'm not elected. So I'm not afraid to lose my seat. I have a calling. I'm doing what is called my prophetic mandate. And I also want to thank the media again that you are with us in this. And because Kenyans are listening, let me say, if you don't change, if you don't stop corruption, God has his own ways. He can, there is a scripture that says a rich man was boasting on how he has a lot of money. Like we heard one politician say that if we know his wealth, we will commit suicide. He said it in public.
Because of the sheer amount.
Yes, and we know him, we know the background. What we are saying is, God is able to reach you even under your bed, and he can deal with you. And so I'm urging Kenyans, and I would even ask the institutions. I'm one of the persons or people that believe we should strengthen institutions like EACC. It is pathetic, Wahiga, for EACC to say they are understaffed. It is pathetic because we know they are doing the right thing. You have given us figures of how much we are losing in Kenya in terms of billions. And Professor here, the good professor, has also told us we are losing millions. We must be angry enough and say no to corruption.
Tell me this, and I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Okay. That's okay.
The religious institutions are meant to be a place that's open for everyone.
Correct.
But there are those who feel that the corrupt are very comfortable visiting your places of worship, and I'm not discriminating.
Correct.
Across board.
Yeah.
Does that not concern you?
It does. And that's
that
why
the corrupt man or a corrupt woman should feel uncomfortable engaging in a fundraising in a place of worship, you know, the way they are treated and hosted. Does that not concern you?
It does, and that's why I joined the Archbishop. That is why I am a member of Interreligious, and we have written such publications. That's why we are saying no. Personally, I have said it so many times, I have lost badly because when we held the Bomas of Kenya anti-corruption conference with KEPSA, Wahiga, somebody wrote me a very nasty message, and he started circulating it. And among the many accusations is that I had received 3 million shillings, you know. And I felt, of course, I consulted a lawyer because I felt this is too much. And I also consulted God. And God told me that he is with me, he is on my side. The thing is, we must be angry enough. And we must, what actually the Kenyans, because we are with them, they want to see prosecution of a particular big fish concluded, and this big fish, or fish, jailed. You remember the man who had slaughtered a cat in Nakuru within a very short time, and we had no complainant. He was jailed. And yet here we have evidences of people cutting away billions of shillings. Let me ask, Wahiga, and you allow me.
Briefly, please.
Yes. We know Professor. He has been in class with a chalk teaching, and also governor from Pokot. We know how much they earn. And then suddenly, they have 2 billion shillings in their account. We are saying this should not be so. And we have enough laws. When are we going to see people, the big ones who are stealing? You know, we started with Gitao here.
Yes.
Who is being told to return 113 million. We are saying we want to see more. And I'm among the Kenyans, because actually I read the responses, and people sound hopeless. They feel like they are defeated in this fight.
Yes, I want to get some responses from the other panelists on the question. First, Judith, I'm coming to you because I know you have lots of questions to answer. Governor, he's raised some questions there, and I want to give you a chance to respond to this also. And let me get your views on Senate as well, and the role that they are playing. Some governors concerned that Senate are overreaching their mandate. Do you hold that view? Go ahead.
I do not. I do not hold. I was in Senate for 5 years, and even co-chaired with Anyang Nyong'o, this Public Account Committee. To me, I think Senate is doing their work. What we need to realize is that in the course of work, maybe differences can arise. We should allow oversight bodies to do what is there, right? But the National Assembly and the county assemblies, and together with the Senate. So I saw Professor Kifuta Kibwana for 5 years, very loyal, coming to present his books. My neighbor John Ngimor, who just texted from West Pokot that why would Senate release governors who have the Auditor General as flagged. I need to remind John Ngimor was the first person from my county to have a degree in 1975. He's retired now. That the Auditor General only flags. He puts a query where documentation were not right. If you are not able to provide by that time, and the oversight body now has summoned you, and you're able to clear the query, that's not to say Senate has been compromised or maybe something has happened. Let us allow that to happen. So to me, I think we should work as a team to make sure that we deal with this thing. Professor actually mentioned that I think we are now putting a lot of emphasis that corruption now is a threat to this nation. We must all stand up to it. Meaning, we should not look hopeless. Something is beginning to happen which was not there before. There is hope and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We should not begin also to copy. Singapore slaughtered people that were found to have done this. But what is the Kenyan culture? What does it say? What is our belief? Mm-hmm. We are Christians, 80%, Bishop is here. But you find all those characters are there. If the remnants who are also Muslims, they pray until God almost comes down on Friday. Mm-hmm. But we need to realize together we can overcome this, rather than pointing fingers at everybody. And like I did mention, we can begin to count our blessings one by one. What have we done? What have we achieved? What is the next thing that is about to be done? Personally, I'm asking, we are now doing recruitment. Right now, national government is doing recruitment. Is there an achievement that there is zero corruption that has taken place in the recruitment process for the police, for the army, for the prison the other day? They should be able to come and tell us. I don't know whether they have any issue to mention about it, but you hear mamas, people saying, for me to get this job, this is what I did. What does that character is going to do? You have just ended by paying a bribe. You have a 20, 30 years ahead of you to go and work for the people of Kenya. Mm-hmm. You have just been processed badly. So what do you think? You may come with that bad manner. So I think let's appreciate that we need to tackle from all fronts. Let's go back to the drawing board. If we are hearing that even exams are, kids came to take breakfast with me and they say, can you tell policemen not to come to the classroom with guns? I said, what are you? These are for fellows. Why can they stay outside with their guns? By the time we are even deciding to go to card an exam with a gun and the inside there is supposed to be a pen and a paper, where do we lose it? So let's appreciate the problem we have. Finger pointing won't assist. We need to begin from there. Work down, work bottom. But I'm happy with what our head of state is doing. Mm-hmm. He's leading from the front. Mm-hmm. And all of us, governors, senators, religious community, and the EACC. Yes. EACC need to be assisted. We need to see them in our offices. When we say quickly something is happening here, yes. We have also formed those bodies. I have a committee myself that reports anything suspicious in my county. And some people are beginning now to fight back heavily, especially those one we took from the previous regime. Suddenly they have made their habitation to be dwelling in EACC, trying to report almost nothing, to cover the previous sins. Those are allowed because now we are in a season.
Some would call them whistleblowers.
They're not whistleblowers.
They're not whistleblowers.
Those are thieves also.
Okay, thank you, Governor, for that. Judith, I know I need to give you good time because you have lots of questions to respond to. I ask that you allow us to take a break and then I'll come back and give you a chance properly to respond to each of the queries, including some that might be coming in right now because we have some few SMSs and tweets. Let's put those up on the screen now. 22422 is our SMS line. The hashtag is Daybreak this morning. Governor 254 says the supreme quality for leadership is unquestionable integrity. Without it, no real success is possible, no matter whether it's in a section gang, a football field, an army, an office. Integrity is choosing courage over comfort, choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy, and choosing to practice our values rather than simply professing them. Okay, Governor 254. That's the SMS. Okay, SMS is here. Silas Otiato Butere, religious and elected leaders have let us down. They are the lords of corruption. Thieves take millions to churches and the priests bless them. Politicians bribe their ways to power. We cheer them. Okay. Minor, you don't tell us where you're from, but you say corruption. Why not sentence the corrupt to life in prison? Mtu akipatikana alifanya, mnaogopa nini? Okay, Minor, interesting question. Obeto from Eldoret, corruption in Kenya has been normalized by institutions set to fight it. It's so sad that even the BBI report doesn't give clear means to end it completely. These radical measures should be put in place to clear the issues of corruption in the country. For number one, anyone suspected to be corrupt must leave office immediately. Okay, number two, anyone suspected of corruption must repay 3 times the amount in question and 30% of the amount to the judiciary as a fine, and the suspect must surrender 75% of his wealth to the government, regardless of how he or she acquired the wealth. Okay, radical proposals there by Obeto. And good luck, Jonathan from Eldoret, not from Nigeria. There was a former president from Nigeria there. Somebody says, I'm afraid this country's leadership has inspired our younger generation to get rich no matter how. Leadership is not about positions, but inspiration. Leadership is not about power, but empowerment. I have always believed that our children will always emulate what we adults do. Our children should know how we got what we have. If leadership cannot account for what they have, what is the message to our children? I just glanced at our watches and realized how quickly time has flown. Let's see how we can wrap this up and get as much in as we can. We're talking war on corruption and Judith Shamala, Senior Attorney, Civil Litigation and Asset Recovery, EACC. Lots of questions have been sent your way. I can give you a chance to respond to as many as you can in as short a time as possible. Please go ahead.
I think I'll give it my best shot. There are many, but matters devolution. Yes, ideally we are supposed to be in the 47 countries, but currently we have 11 regional offices. All this is because of there's no money. We need money to set up some of these offices in the counties. It is work in progress, so at least we have hope, just like Governor has said. So we are working very closely with government to see where we can strategically open an office, at least to serve a larger area for some time before we get resources to go to the 47 counties. I like something that Governor from West Pokot talked about, the ECD centers. In our preventive mandate, we have what we call the integrity clubs. But it's a take-home for me as an officer of the commission. At least we will go down and cascade to children from the beginning, just like Germany does. Actually, Germany have something they call personal policing. Before even the police come to you, you ask a question to yourself, is what I'm doing right? Just like the governors are saying. So I think it's very critical if we started at the ECD level, instead of when somebody has already gone to high school. The culture is so deeply entrenched that we need to start from the very beginning. Somebody asked about a question on leadership. I think what I can say basically is pick up from where Governor from West Pokot said, this fight is for all of us. These leaders that we are complaining about, who has put them in those offices? That is the first question we should ask ourselves as Kenyans. When we release a report and say as EACC that these are the number of people we are investigating, yet they are coming to you and asking you for votes. And the next thing we get is, "Uyo ni mtu wetu. What do you do?" Are we also not to blame as a society on the people we put as leaders? I think also we need to be candid and honest as Kenyans and say, we also need to vet our leaders. If, for example, Professor Kivutha Kibwana has been your governor for this long, many complaints have come. You really want to give him a second term? I don't know. I leave that to the Kenyans to ponder about, to think about and ask themselves, when this person is saying ni mtu wetu, how are you benefiting, you as a Kenyan? There was a question
you're challenging the voter this morning.
Yes.
Yes, there's a question, go ahead.
There was a question on life imprisonment. People who are convicted. Well, that would mean that we amend our statute because it doesn't give life imprisonment. But there's somebody who asked about the convicts paying 3 times. It is actually there. The minute they are convicted, what they stole is multiplied by 3, just like in anti-narcotics. So they pay 3 times.
It's actually there in our laws as well.
It is. And the beauty about our laws, I think we have fantastic laws. It's just that, just like they say, it's a process. When DPP is dealing with them criminally, EACC is actually going after their assets. And they both run simultaneously. And at the end of the day, you'll even find DPP will recover on a conviction-based case and will recover on non-conviction.
Okay.
So something is being done. I urge Kenyans not to lose hope. It may look like it is slow, but something is actually happening.
Something is actually happening.
Yes, something is happening.
Governor Kibwana, I know you have some final thoughts you'd like to give us, and even as you do that, this coming Monday, all roads lead to Makueni for International Anti-Corruption Day. What is there for the Mwananchi on International Anti-Corruption Day in Kenya? I also want that as you give us your final thoughts.
I think I'll start by the question of if we as leaders are corrupt, the youth copy us. And that is why some of the young people, were saying in an interview, in a research, that they don't mind how they make their wealth. Even if you steal from the public and they make wealth, that's right. So it means that we as leaders, we as the senior people, must change drastically so that there is the example. Because even if we tell people don't be corrupt and they can see we are corrupt, that message does not sink. I think the people want to become politicians or public servants. They should actually be vetted by EACC and the Political Parties Tribunal, not by IEBC. IEBC should be given names and told that these ones are fit to now vie for offices.
That's your recommendation?
That's my recommendation. And these wealth declarations that we signed, first of all public servants should sign them, not just the senior ones. And they should be made public so that when, each year you say that this is what you have, it is made public, so that if you now sign another one the other year, then people will ask you, we would like to know where this came from. And I personally think that if we want to do something a bit radical, we should say that all public officers are going to be submitted to lifestyle audit. And if, of course, you say you don't want, then you vacate whatever office you have. Because you have to do something that really shows that this is serious business, it is hurting us, we must do something drastic to begin to really seriously dent it. And I think the EACC should be a constitutional body. Now it is not in the Constitution, it was in an earlier draft of the Constitution, but it was removed so that it is independent, it has the resources, it can prosecute, it can do all those things. In Makueni, through them, we have now asked them voluntarily to conduct a corruption risk assessment so that they can tell us these are the places of weakness, you can correct these ones and so on, because we really want a system that works for Wananchi. And all the governors, we actually agreed when we had a meeting with the EACC that should happen in all the counties. And finally,
can I get your final word?
Yes, finally, I think the citizen, like when they come to Makueni and all the other places, they should now engage the leadership. We should engage each other. Like in 2002, citizens were arresting police people. 2003, when Kibaki came in. So we really want a citizens movement. That is when citizens will say that we are not going to allow anybody who is corrupt and we are going to get them out of offices.
Okay. Thank you so much, Governor, for that. Bishop Wakabu, your final word on this topic?
Yeah, somebody said that transparency is the cure. And I want also to echo Madam Shamara's words that there is hope. And indeed, we should know that we have to start somewhere. Let it start with me. Let's start with you. When we say no to corruption, it's going to be painful. It's going to cost us. But little by little, we'll get there. If we say no to corruption in the individual level, eventually this nation will be changed. So I would urge Kenyans, and more so, really, the leaders are a reflection. We are lamenting that leaders are doing this and that. It's us, actually. It's a reflection of who we are. So if we begin with self, I interrogate myself, and I walk in the light, that is what the scripture says, then those who walk in the light, they have nothing to fear. When you're walking in the light, whether it's a lifestyle audit and all that, there is nothing that you're hiding. So there is hope, and again, would like to continue praying for our nation, our leaders, like the president in his fight against corruption. That is the right way to go. And again, let me make an appeal. Bodies like EACC, they should be strengthened. We should have faith in our courts. We should have faith in our judiciary.
Okay.
And if we can, please let us fund them so that we can see the results.
Thank you so much. Governor Nyangapuo, you have the final take.
I want to remind Kenyans what is written in the book of Jeremiah. It says the heart of man is the most deceitful thing. Meaning, if we can guard the heart of man, which everything emanates from, and guide it from to right ways, we will be able to achieve all that we have. In West Pokot, we have decided to start compulsory mentorship program every holiday for our kids from class 4 to university, for a day in every ward. These topics, we inculcate and tell them about the hazards and the effects of not doing this and doing that. It is really, we can already see it now, this is year 2 that's taking place. Like I did also mention, the Ministry of Education has to take it priority 1. ECDs, primary, secondary, those are the areas where we should be creating human power, our human pool of people to lead this country. We must be able to escalate and to take over and lead them. Evidently, in West Pokot, there are some things that were done previously during the local authority regime, and so on and so on. But we are now working with EACC, currently the regional office in Eldoret, to see how land that was just given to some people anyhow, and they are staring at us and we're wondering, we don't have anywhere to build as a county because the headquarters is very tiny, needs to be recovered. And those people who are listening to me, and maybe they are from that region, now it is your turn to return what doesn't belong to you. And any officer in Kenya here must take really responsibility. We should not wait for the president to come and say, this is it. We should not wait to hear bells ringing. The EACC are around the corner. Officers, I've told my officers, anytime you see EACC, just give everything you need. Those are your co-workers, they know what they are doing. Just, unless you are very guilty, instead of running out of the door, quickly run to police or to get to be jailed. Why should you be scared of anything?
Yes.
So to me, we are in the right direction.
Okay.
And on Monday, on Monday night, I expect a lot of my people from West Pokot will come. Even the neighbors at the border of Uganda, three districts officers are coming, 3 districts are coming, because we do a lot of business together with them. We saw that they know Kenya is now walked on this path. Okay. So to me, I see a lot of hope. How much time it will take for us to achieve there? Let's walk the talk and the walk.
Let's walk the talk. Thank you so much. Judith, I hope you finished your final thoughts in the time that I gave you.
No, I can add two sentences.
Literally 2.
Yes.
Yes.
1, we are actually open to what Governor is saying. This is your time to return the property. We actually have alternative dispute resolution. Okay. So if you want to return, you can come, we sit down and look at the terms, see whether we can agree, but we are open.
Fair enough. And the next one?
The next one is I would urge Kenyans to actually get out on Monday. Please listen.
And the locations are?
It is Makueni, West Pokot, and Nyandarua. Okay. Please go out there, join other EACC, county government, listen, give reports because they're taking reports in those caravans, and get to learn what the do's and the don'ts for your public officers.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you to each of my guests who found time this morning for what I must say has been a very stimulating conversation. We've had the Governor of Makueni, Kivutha Kibwana, joining us. Thank you for finding time this morning. We've had Bishop Dr. John Wakavu, Executive Board Member, Interreligious Council of Kenya. Thank you for your time. Judith Shamala, Senior Attorney, Civil Litigation and Asset Recovery, EACC. Thank you as well. And last but not least, John Nyangapuo, the Governor of West Pokot. Thank you for joining us this morning. And for everyone who's watched, we know you sent us lots of feedback. Let's take a look at some of them right now. This is what Kenyans are saying. First, via Twitter, Peter Musimi 208, you say, it's so sad that those obligated with the duty to fight corruption live in fear and always work towards impressing the leaders in the name of, or the misleaders in the name of leaders, prioritizing cynicism. They will try to stop you, but they won't stop an idea whose time of implementation has come. Okay. Sam Oindi says Kenyans are corrupt because the systems they live under today and even before today makes corruption easy and profitable. Okay, Shonko Andu says those who are willing to speak out on issues of corruption are silenced and their lives are not protected. Look at someone like Spencer on the famous Mara heist. It is very sad. Okay. And JTI says the first steps of a child is learned from the parent. Why has it taken so long to end it? Who is involved and why can't the government bring it to an end? Okay, do we have SMSs now? That's how we wrap up. 22422. No name, but to say great job to all the EACC team. The kind of recovery made so far is a good gesture. We are hopeful. Okay. What else? Oh, that's the last one. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, this is the end of this session, but not the end of Daybreak. When we return, Chef Ali cooking up a storm, so to speak, with Willis Raburu. And then we'll have more news updates from 9 o'clock. You're watching Daybreak live on Citizen TV. Stay with us.